Alright guys, so let's get into string walking. So, what string walking is when you aim with the tip of your arrow the whole time. You never bring the tip down or up. So, when you're aiming with the tip, you don't bring it down on your target or up on your target to change your yardages. You keep it stationary in the middle of your target where you want to aim. So, an easier way to explain that is, which if you're brand spanking new to archery, you're not really going to understand this, but if you're coming from the compound world over to traditional, this right here, this arrow tip, is your pin. Okay? So it's like your sight housing's pin. And what you're doing is you're keeping your pin or your arrow tip completely in the middle of the target where you want to aim. Okay? And how you're going to change your yardages is you're going to, so usually, hopefully you guys can see this, usually you move down, you find some type of marker. I'm using my glove and fingers for this. So let's say I move half my finger down, and then I'm just going to move my grip down, like that. So what that does is, you see the little space, what that does is when you draw back, it brings your arrow closer to your eyeball, which changes your yardage in your arrow flight. And I don't really scientifically know how it works. I think just your arrow moving up and down on your face is kind of what gives you the different yardages. And actually that was a perfect shot at about 8 yards, which is where I'm shooting. Just going half on my finger, sliding down, and I'm still anchoring with my middle finger. Your anchor on your face is your biggest part in this, I think. You want to keep your anchor consistent. You don't want to keep changing it, because then your yardages are going to change. So, middle finger in the corner of my mouth, get my back tension, and release. And a clicker helps with your back tension. If you want me to go into detail about that, I will. And sorry guys, I keep saying I don't know why. It's just kind of coming out before my brain thinks, so. Hopefully, I quit doing it. So, and let's say, so that's 8 yards. I don't know if 20 would be my point on or not, but with string walking, sometimes your gap will be a whole finger length, which is all the way down here. And then that really puts your arrow, which I aim down so I wouldn't miss, but that really puts your arrow really up towards your eye. I mean, crazy amounts. But also, your, what they call point on, just like gap shooting with string walking, is when you can still aim with the point of your arrow like you've been doing this whole time as you string walk, but you can have your fingers right up against the arrow. Now on my wooden setup, my wooden bow setup, I actually have 2 tie-on nocks. So I actually put it below my tie-on knock, but I mostly gap shoot with that. And another thing I want to tell you guys is there's people that do it, but gap shooting, or not gap shooting, but string walking, I'm sorry. String walking is not, I want to say it's not good, because I think the newer equipment, it's okay to do it on, but I've heard if you do it with a wooden bow, that you can mess up your bottom limb, because as you go down the string, you're adding more tension onto your bottom limb than your top limb, and that can maybe cause catastrophic damage to your bow, or maybe just throw your shot off. So really what you want is if you want a string walk, which I'm not saying you can't do it with a wooden bow, because there's people that do it, but if you want a string walk, you really should have a metal riser, recurve, and some type of high performance limbs. These are carbon and foam, so they're just a different material than the wood. I'm pretty sure they just take the abuse a little bit better. But also, you can get a custom bow built to shoot string walking if that's what you want. So, anyway, we'll take another shot. Like I said, slide down, anchor, back tension, shoot. And that's just, that's how you do the shot. So that kind of sums up string walking. And another thing is, when you hear people talk about a crawl, all that is how much you're moving down. When you move down your string, it's called a crawl. Now, you can run what they call a fixed crawl, which is where you see I got a tile knock. You would knock your arrow in the same place that you always do, but you'd have a whole bunch of little tile knocks telling you where to put your finger. Let's say you got a tile knock right here, then you put your finger right under it, you go, you shoot, and you hit. I mean, that time I didn't get back tension, and that was kind of more of an instinctive shot, even though I was string walking. But, yeah, that's pretty much it for string walking, or at least the basics of it. I could go more into detail about all this stuff if you guys want that, and kind of give the different aiming methods all their own more detailed, more in-depth video. But all a fixed crawl is where you have something on your string, either a tie-on knock, a brass knock, something on your string to kind of show you where. But what a lot of people do is either do the glove like I did, or I think what 80% of people do when it comes to string walking is they'll have a tab. And if you don't know what a tab is, it's just like a glove, just it's a piece of leather, and it goes onto your hand, protects your fingers. Same thing a glove does, but with a tab, sometimes the metal on them, or sometimes it's even leather, will have little tally marks where you can figure out your distance when string walking. So it kind of helps you just move down the string a little better, more accurately. But what I can say is I really want to get more deep into string walking. All the Olympic archers use it. A lot of the competition archers use it. Pretty much anybody that shoots really high up on the standards, as you'd say, anybody that is really a sharp shooter, really high class shooter, and with traditional equipment, usually uses string walking. And it's definitely the most accurate, which I'm not saying you can't get as accurate by using gap or by using instinctive, because I mean you guys have seen on my channel what I can do gap shooting. Gap shooting is my main stable when it comes to shooting. That's how I like to shoot. But that's just because I like the more traditional feel. I like the more traditional wooden bows. And that's, I mean, it works for me. But I would like to get more into, which is why I kind of have this, wouldn't really call it a competition setup, but it definitely has some fancy bells and whistles um, with the rest and the clicker, and I'm running a stabilizer on it, and just, you know, it has a little bit of bells and whistles. It's not truly traditional, but as some guys would say, other guys would say it's completely traditional. Me personally, I think it's, of course it has some bells and whistles, but I think it's still traditional. I still count this as traditional archery. As long as you're aiming with the arrow, you don't have a peep, you don't have sight, you don't have a cams on your bow, then I think you're shooting traditional. But anyway, that's pretty much it for string walking. And it is pretty consistent, it is pretty accurate. I actually think I might have just hit one of my arrows. So, yeah, it's pretty consistent, pretty accurate. If you want accuracy fast, I highly suggest just buying the metal riser, going straight into string walking and do it that way. Instinctive, the more arrows you put in downrange, the better off you are. With instinctive, your brain will start doing the work for you. Kind of like another sport, if you ever played pool. Pool's kind of the same way. You know, your brain will do the shots for you eventually once you start shooting enough. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully I didn't say too much, because I know in the beginning I went back and watched the video and I definitely did say it a lot. But which is funny, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you have anything that you can add on to this for the new shooters, please leave it down in the comments. This was just kind of a rough, information video, just kind of getting their feet wet per se, and all these different types of aiming methods. These are the three that I know. I'm sure there's more out there if you go back in the history books of archery. These are the three that I know most of, so I figured I'd do a video explaining it. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Peace.